Thanks to James for that. Let's speak now to Kristine Berzina, Managing Director at the German Marshall Fund North, a think tank. Thanks for coming on the programme.
Of course.
So what's your reaction to the developments of the last few hours?
It's been a very good day for Ukraine. The relationship between Ukraine and the United States has been on the rocks since that Oval Office meeting. And right now, Ukraine is in a better position than it has been in weeks. Ukraine has gotten back that which it lost over the past week because of these bad ties. The intelligence sharing agreements have resumed now. This is profoundly important for Ukraine's ability to defend itself minute by minute. That loss has been overturned. The future of American aid also is back on the table. The U.S. can resume defense assistance from previously funded programs. That's also very good news. But also the narrative of who is a constructive partner and who is a difficult partner is now again on Ukraine's side. Ukraine had a very long and productive meeting with really good outcomes. Also, this really potential path for a very strong ceasefire. In the past week or so, we had conversations about a potential ceasefire in the sea and in the air, but not a full-scale one. So the movement here on what a ceasefire could entail really has gone forward. This is a wonderful prospect, even for Ukrainians. But who can mess it up? In some ways, at this point, the Ukrainians seem to have done everything right. The question is, do the Russians agree to it? Do the Russians see it in their interest to turn a new leaf, finish this era of war, and be happy with what they can get? Or do they still seek many of the things that they wanted from the very beginning, which
Well,
is a Ukraine that is different?
well, let's come back to that longer term aim of Russia in a moment, perhaps. But just on the short term, do you think it's in their interest to sign up to a 30-day ceasefire, and do you think they will?
For the Russians. Russia, if it wants to have a good relationship with the US in the future, and it has seemed that Putin is interested in going around the corner and doing something different, being re-embraced again internationally, if that is something that he wants, then it would be a good idea for him to embrace this 30-day ceasefire. If he instead thinks that the territorial aims in Ukraine are more important, well, then it probably isn't a good idea for him to take the ceasefire. If he wants to be considered a good guy by Washington, he should cooperate in this process because he has a far more open-minded administration that is interested in starting fresh right now. If he sabotages an attempt at peace, one that the US and the Ukrainians have agreed to, despite all the trouble in that relationship recently, he will not be seeming like a great friend or actor on the world stage.
And do you think that would be enough on its own to get Vladimir Putin to agree here? Or do you think when US officials speak to Russian officials this week, they will have to offer something more, whether that's around sanctions or relief or potentially threats of greater support for Ukraine?
I I would assume that Russia probably wants lots of things more. Russia keeps going back, of course, to the original memos that they sent about changing the world order, about wanting NATO to be the smaller form of NATO that it was in 1997 before enlargement. Russia, of course, also wants bigger economic opportunities for itself. That should absolutely be part of the conversation if Russia tries to get what it really wants in the world. There are both big picture geopolitical aims that Russia is seeking to attain, and also tactical financial ones. And in the meeting in Riyadh between the Russians and the Americans last month, we saw the economic conversation have a lot of traction. I assume that all of these things will be pushed. What is not clear is how much the US is interested in giving concessions on the geostrategic questions or on the economic ones.
Okay. Kristine Berzina, thank you very much for coming on the programme. Thank you.
Thank you.